Alright, today we're going to be making an album cover for Stranger Things Season 4. Spoiler alert, kind of. I don't really spoil, what am I saying? I don't really spoil anything that's not in the trailer, but this is your unofficial warning, I guess. So, in the show, Eddie, he plays guitar in the upside down on top of a trailer, so I want to put that on an album cover. I started off, before I actually started recording, creating a really crappy drawing with the pen tool, or not the pen tool, the pencil tool. So you can see all my little demo bats and the trailer and the Eddie guy. Man, that guy does not look like Eddie. When I was doing this at first, I was looking at that guy thinking like, man, I'm gonna have to do some work on this guy. This guy is not, he doesn't have the vibe. So I couldn't really find a good, I couldn't just take a screenshot of the show because it would be so blurry, right? So I had to find a guy who was kind of in the same pose and then somehow find bits and pieces in other random photos, find a leather jacket, find the Eddie type of hair and kind of stick it all together and blend it. And it was horrible. Anyway, so what you see here is I'm trying to match all the photos that I found with my little composition thing that I made with the pencil tool. And then usually when I create artwork, I'm just I don't really have the most straightforward process. I'm kind of just throwing things at the wall and fixing them as I go, which is super inconvenient. So this time, I decided to put a solid color over the entire layer stack. I think the color is 808080, and then I changed the blending mode to color. And what that does is take all the color away so you can only see the levels. That way, when I'm putting everything in, I can blend everything so it looks nice and realistic and change the levels. So, for example, the stuff in the background that's far away, like the trees, that stuff should have kind of lower contrast and should be a bit of a lighter color. And then things are closer should be darker. So the black should be super dark and the white should be super light. And that's pretty much what my first step was, and I didn't really tackle color seriously till honestly the very end. When I'm doing this, I know I'm going to edit everything near the end with camera raw filter, but I do want to make it as close as possible so I don't have to make any crazy edits with it later. But at the point you're seeing now on the screen, I am actually trying to get that color, and what I'm doing is taking in some reference pictures. By the way, if you want a good software for reference pictures, I use PureRef, and you basically just copy and paste any random picture on this artboard, and you can have it on your secondary monitor and look at it while you're artworking. And that's pretty much what I did. Got super off track. What was I even saying? Okay, the color. That color that you saw, that picture that you saw of 11 kind of walking down the street, that red and blue one, that's kind of the reference I was using for the color. So now that I have the basic scene, which is the trailer, trees, sky, and grass, I'm kind of adding everything else in, and I'm kind of picking. See, I like to create the environment at the very beginning, because once you have the environment and you create the world and you choose your light sources and you decide where the light is coming from and which areas will be dark and which won't, it's a lot easier to add things into the environment once it's already made. So for example, these amps over here, if I did that at the beginning, it would be kind of difficult to plan everything. It's just easier to do one thing at a time. Wow, my voice really cracked there. That was horrible. Anyway, what was I saying? So I put that lightning there, and that kind of dictated where the light source would come from. Here, this looks strange, but I think I got this picture off of Google Images, and I wanted to match these bat pictures because I do not have a picture of the demo bats. I think that's what they're called. So I brought a picture of the demo bats in so I could match the color of the regular bats to it. Honestly, I struggled with that. I know how to use Photoshop, but sometimes it's you just can't get that right color, that look. You know what I mean? Anyway, you can see me messing around with the colors, and I think around this time, if I'm being 100% honest, I was thinking about not continuing with this project. I thought it wasn't going to work out because it just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like it felt like it wasn't going anywhere. But honestly, in my experience, whenever I do feel like that, I just kind of stick with it, or I kind of put the project down and then come back to it the next day or like hours later. And all the problems with the artwork are so clear to me, and like the solutions are so clear. So I don't know if anyone ever gets stuck like that, I would say just take a break. Then when you look at it with fresh eyes, you'll be amazed. You'll be like, how did past me even not see this? I don't know. I guess your eyeballs just get a little burnt out sometimes. Anyway, what am I doing now? I'm just honestly right off the dome commenting as I watch this with you guys. But yeah, so here you can see I'm kind of spending more details on the colors, but here, this is where, man, this sucks. I found this guy in a leather jacket, and my thought was I was just going to cut out bits and pieces of random people and just stitch them on and blend them together and just hope for the best. And I think it worked out. I didn't have a solution for the face, so I mean, you'll see what I did, but basically here I'm using the perspective warp, which is an insanely powerful tool in Photoshop. If you don't use it, you need to find a situation where you can use it and use it, because it is so nice to have. You basically map out every kind of surface, or why does my voice keep cracking? You map out every surface, and then you kind of warp each surface so it fits whatever you're trying to fit it on. Now, the way I'm using this, it does kind of look weird, but my thought was like, this is going to be more of a silhouette, so it doesn't really matter too much if like it looks slightly off. Like if it was a close-up, then it would definitely be a problem, but in this case, I think I was fine. And you can see this looks kind of messed up, but once you kind of blend things together and, you know, like take off the rough edges, and then once you darken it, like, you know, it's not gonna be too hard on the eyes. And then I change his shirt to white, just like it is in the show. Now that I'm thinking about it, does he wear a leather jacket? I think he does. Does he? Oh man, I'm gonna have to look at this right after I finish this voiceover to check. I'm not changing it. I'm definitely not changing it. Look at this guy's hair. This caused some problems too, because, man, I couldn't get that hair to come out like those edges, those edges, like those tiny pieces on the edge of his hair, like that afro-y, messy type of hair is the worst type of hair to cut out. And the colors behind him were different too, so I couldn't even like select the color and remove it. And his head didn't fit. It was causing a lot of problems actually, but in the end, I think it didn't look too bad. So once I got him all figured out, I kind of treated him as one object, and then adjusted like the levels and the color so he kind of fit in more. I started moving the bats around and changing like the levels for them. Starting to do small touch-ups, but that fog at the bottom, man, that gave me a lot of trouble. I could not figure that out as well. I hate how my bottom bar of my Mac just keeps coming up. I need to like disable that or something when I'm recording, because honestly, not good. So at first I have this lighting and it is bad. I think this actually might be when I was thinking about not continuing with this project, just like ending it, because the lighting on him just ruined the whole thing. And it's crazy. It goes to show how important lighting is in a piece of artwork. Even if the whole thing was good and I just kept that lighting right there, everyone would hate it because it just looks so fake. And oh my god, I'm looking at his face now too. That does not does not look good. And now I'm starting to add a little bit more detail to the bat. So I'm adding like these motion blurs. So I'm duplicating the bat. And then on the duplicated layer, creating like a motion blur, and just kind of moving it over as if like they're zooming in at them. So this was a weird thing I decided to do. I saw it in one of my reference pictures, and I thought it was kind of cool. But basically, I used like water ripples, and I put it behind them with a blend mode on them, and the look I was going for was like the music was coming out of the guitar and kind of like rippling across the upside down. I don't know. And see, you can see me just struggle with the fog down there as well. And then I start really adjusting the lighting because this is my reference, right? So I want to make sure the lighting is as close as possible. To do that, I actually have that same solid color layer that I was talking about at the very beginning. I have that on the top of the layer stack, and then I changed that. Instead of color, I changed it to luminosity. Under that layer, I add hue and saturation. I boost the saturation to the very end. Then you'll be able to see the color. So you use color balance and just kind of adjust adjust the sliders so it's the same as your reference picture. It doesn't always work out, but it gets you closer. And I think once you're close enough, you can really start to make those tweaks. So I don't think this piece really came together until this part when I started adding the what do I want to say, like the foggy lighting behind the trailer and behind Eddie. Once I added that, I feel like the piece was really coming together, right? Because if you think about it, the upside down is foggy. I have fog in the front, there's fog in the back, but the fog isn't shown in the light, which it would be. Like if you think about when you're driving down like a foggy road, you can see the fog, like the physicalness of the fog under streetlights and stuff. So that's why I think I needed to add that stuff on around the sides and the top of the trailer as well as around Eddie and the amps. The roots, I had no idea how I was going to do that, which is why I did them last, because I'm not the best drawer. So I knew I wasn't going to draw them. So what I did was I found a bunch of pictures of actual like tree roots, and I think I just cut them out a little bit, like faded them out of the picture and added a blend mode. And once they're under the fog and kind of blend moded it into the grass, they do kind of look like the vines from Stranger Things. And then I think I found some more vines actually and put that on the trailer. And at this point, I'm just kind of touching up, and I gotta fix this guy's face. It looks so bad. Like, it doesn't look like Eddie at all. And like the proportion of his face to his hair just was so off. So I'm getting close to the end here. One thing I wasn't sure about, see, I actually really like the pink and purple coloring I have, but I know it's not the same as Stranger Things. Stranger Things is red and blue, and if you actually look at the show, it's just red and just blue, which in my opinion, just having that two color thing isn't the best. To me, it just looks like almost flat. I feel like it's best with three colors, so I did add like red, blue, and then orange. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's as realistic to the show as it would be if it was just red and blue, but I do think it looks better overall. Like if they actually did make an album cover for this show, I think it'd be better for this one. And actually, if you look at some of the Stranger Things Stranger Things posters, they do the same thing. They do red and orange for the sky instead of blue. And wow, I just put all of my files onto my video. I'm gonna have to block that out. That's good. Note for future me. And here I'm just kind of messing around, trying different things. I spent a long time in this color grading area here. But that's pretty much the artwork. Alright guys, thank you for watching. If you want to see more of this, then subscribe, because then you will see me on YouTube in the future. Alright, see ya.